Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Scary Facts Part 4. It's not my Part 4, it's this guy's Part 4. Our first slide is already a classic of dumb TikTok slideshows. First of all, the text is cut off, which means this guy screen cropped someone else's dumb piece of misinformation. And it is misinfo. So, the gist is, in case you can't read, that this is a picture of the Paris sewers, and ooh, look, there's some scary looking eyes at the end of it. There must be a monster. Well, first of all, here's the original image. As you can see, no spooky eyes. And also, this original image is not from Paris. This picture was originally uploaded on Flickr in 2006 by this guy, the Auto Witch. The description is, looking into a very old brick tunnel. So it's not in Paris, and there's no monster. As for the picture with the eyes and the caption, that version originated, I believe, on Tumblr around 2015, from what I could find. But in a surprise twist, the next picture is more creepy eyes, this time a bunch of people. This slide claims that in a small town in Kansas, there was a town destroyed by a tornado, and this picture was found in the rubble. This is not true. In fact, this is just a very distorted version of the Ashley, Kansas creepypasta. This picture, at least extremely early on, was associated with that creepypasta, and then at some point, either knowingly or unknowingly, people turned the picture into its own weird Kansas thing separate from the creepypasta. Needless to say, it's not real. It's as real as Jeff the Killer or Slender Man is. This picture I couldn't find a source for, and I'm not really in the business for debunking paranormal stuff like ghosts, because to be frank, I find it very hard to debunk things that you can't approach scientifically. I think this is just weird lighting or an artifact of the camera, mainly because while it does kind of look like the figure of a person, if you look, the light also is a lot more than the person. Like, here's the outline, and then does the outline have a tail? Yeah, does the person have an extra leg right there? Like, it only makes sense if you take the specific part around the girl alone. If you only look at that part and assume that's a human, then it kind of looks like a person. But if you take all of the weird lighting in its totality, it kind of loses any shape or form. Every year we unknowingly pass our death anniversary. Well, guess what? I'm gonna die in a leap year. This next slide, I couldn't really find the source of the picture, who even knows, but it talks about the cargo ship Octavius, which disappeared off the coast of Greenland, and then 13 years later, not 15 years later, it was discovered by a captain and all the crew were frozen. So already the story's wrong, because it was 13 years. But also, the story isn't really true. The Octavius is a legend, but from a historical standpoint, there was very little evidence to support it. There was no records of a ship called the Octavius ever leaving. We have no idea who really found it. We have none of the logbooks that were supposedly found. Also, according to the story, after 13 years, the ship was found in perfect condition in the Arctic. That raises a lot of questions, because if you're aware of the Shackleton's endurance, that ship, while still having a living crew, barely made it out of the Arctic, and that was a ship that was supposed to be going on an Arctic expedition. So the idea that just a merchant ship, the Octavius, would, for 13 years with no one alive on it, come out unscathed out of the Arctic with all the ice and stuff moving around, probably isn't true. I'm giving this guy the benefit of the doubt, because you would only really know about whether the Octavius is true or untrue if you do a lot more digging than your average person would. Most websites and places online just take it at face value and don't look into the many issues with the account. By this time next year, 54 million people will be dead. Actually, as of 2024, the amount of people that will be dead by next year is probably going to be closer to 60 million. It hasn't been 54 million since about 2008, which shows how old this little bit of internet trivia is. Besides that, while the number itself is wrong, the principle behind the slide is correct, so I guess good job. Let's give OP a round of applause, because we finally got to the first slide that isn't an outright lie or misinformation. It is actually true that serial killers behave somewhat like bees. The short of it is that when bees go out to get pollen for the beehive, there's actually a little zone around the beehive that they won't gather pollen from even if there are a bunch of flowers. They go out far enough away from the beehive that if they get caught by a predator, that predator probably won't find where the beehive is. It's far enough away that the beehive's location is still a secret, but that the bee can still return home in a relatively quick time span to return the pollen. That's what serial killers do. They're not going to commit a murder in their front yard because they would get caught. So instead, they go a ways away from their house so they can do their evil deeds, and then even when the crime scene's found, the police probably won't be able to guess where the house is. It's far enough away that no one can guess where the house is, but just close enough that it can be easily traveled back and forth to by the killer, if that makes sense. This one is the most easily debunked yet. So, apparently there's a ghost town in Delaware that's surrounded by satanic stuff and a bunch of people disappear around it every year. Obviously, if you look this place up, it doesn't show up because it doesn't exist. And the thing is, setting it in Delaware is the dumbest thing ever, because Delaware is small. Small enough that almost every ghost town in Delaware can fit in a top 10 list. Like, you can just find lists of all the ghost towns, and the most I found is maybe 12. This kind of stupidity doesn't come from a lack of research, it comes from not even trying. This is almost certainly an account that steals other people's slides, crops them badly, and then puts them on their account. Okay, so this last one has a big old word salad, so let me break it down for you. Basically, there's a book called The Lesser Keys of Solomon. It contains a list of a bunch of demons and how to summon them. It's from the 1700s, it's the type of stupid stuff people wrote back then. One of the demons in it, Valak, is what the nun in the Nun movie is based off of, but very loosely. The only thing the nun shares with the Valak from the book is that the nun is named Valak. Valak in the book is a little baby man who's also a president. That's the end. This slideshow sucked, like, a lot. It might be one of the worst ones I've seen, just because not only is everything wrong, but it's all very clearly stolen. So yeah, I'm giving this one an F. See you next time.